Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. It's another good week. We've already started it and we're going to continue, and time just keeps moving on. And I'd like to share a verse with you here. This is the week of Easter. Some people call it the Holy Week. And this verse, this word of encouragement, comes from John chapter 17 and beginning with verse 13. And he says this, the Jesus, that is. I've told them many things while I was with them in this world, so they would be filled with my joy. This is Jesus's prayer, or part of it. I have given them your word, and the world hates them because they do not belong to the world, just as I do not belong to the world. I'm not asking you to take them out of the world, but to keep them safe from the evil one. They do not belong to this world any more than I do. When people talk about the Lord's Prayer, they really talk about the prayer that the Lord taught people to say. That's in Matthew and Luke. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, that sort of thing. But the Lord's Prayer, the prayer that the Lord prayed, is right here, the 17th chapter of John, the whole chapter. This is the prayer that Jesus prayed here during this last week of his life on earth. He knew it was coming to an end. Disciples hadn't quite gotten that message yet. And of course, we know it because we've got 2,000 years of history after the fact to know what he was talking about. But when folks heard this, or when he shared this, nobody really understood. And so what we have here is Jesus talking to his Father, second part of the Trinity. And let me just read a little bit of it again. He says, I have told them many things while I was with them. Jesus taught about a lot of things, all practical, all very useful in how to live and what to do and what not to do. He was the most practical teacher that ever existed. And he says to God, I've taught them a lot of things. And then he goes on to say, I was with them in this world so that they would be filled with joy. Here's the bottom line of Christianity. It's forgiveness of sin. Yeah, absolutely. It's the sacrifice of the Son. Absolutely. But the bottom line is, why? Jesus didn't have to do it. God didn't have to send his Son. He could just left it like it was. He didn't have to go to all that trouble. He could have done whatever he wanted to do. But the bottom line is that he did all that, and Jesus came to live and teach all of that so that we might understand that life is supposed to be full of joy and goodness as we walk in his footsteps. Now, I'm not suggesting that life is full of joy if you have a whole bunch of things. Things are things. They may give you pleasure for a moment, but they're not going to last. But the presence of God will last all of your life, or at least all that you'll let it last. Because he goes on to say that the world hates them. The world hates them. That's a strong word, and word that we don't use very much. And I doubt most Christians in this world think the world hates them. But it does. Because the life that Jesus taught is the antithesis to life that the world teaches. The world teaches me, 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 me. Jesus teaches someone else, someone else, someone else, someone else. The world teaches get, 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 get. And Jesus teaches give, 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 give. The world says if somebody hurts you, you get even, or at least hold it against them. Jesus said, no, that wasn't going to work. And he says in this prayer, Lord, watch out for them. You can't take them out of the world. God doesn't want us to live as if we're not in this world. Somehow we just sit around and wait for heavens to do something. But he wants us to be protected from those forces of evil that try to get us to quit walking with him, that try to get us to compromise, that try to get us to make a little less important what he says. Now, don't misunderstand here. A lot of churches, a lot of denominations, a lot of history, a lot of preachers have taught that being in this world means following rules. You don't do this. You can't wear this. You can't say this. You can't play this. You can't go here. That's not what Jesus taught. Never, ever, ever will you find him teaching anything that's remotely related to that. Nah, I know a lot of people believe it, and they have the right to believe it. But what Jesus is saying here is don't let the world's values and desires and successes overcome his people. It's okay to be successful. I'm thankful for those people who have a lot of money and lots of things, especially if they use it to help his kingdom. I'm not jealous. I have everything I need, just about. Probably need another pair of shoes since I gave 3 pair away, but that's not a big deal. Jesus wants us to have joy and to show that joy, even in the midst of a world that tries to get us not to. That's his prayer. That's what he's saying here in the 17th chapter of the Gospel of John on this, the last week. If this is the thing he's praying as his life and earthly ministry is ending, it's probably pretty important. It's as though I've got a few more days to get a few more things in. So here's what I want you to especially pay attention to. We're not of this world. We should never, ever think that we are. And we should always live with our hands and our feet and our minds one step into the kingdom of God until that time comes, when it comes in the fullness. Well, that ought to be good news. I hope so. Thanks for listening. You have a terrific day. Have a terrific week. If you have a prayer, concern, or a need, let us know. We'll do everything we can as fast as we can to help meet those needs. God bless you. I'll talk to you again.